Hello, everyone. Mike Meback with KTVU Fox 2 in the San Francisco Bay Area. I'm joined by a special guest to talk about a very special event that recently happened, a special song that could be really heard around the world. U.S. Air Force Commander and Conductor Colonel Don Schofield joins us now. Colonel, thanks for being with us.
Thanks so much, Mike.
Hey, of course. What a production. I mean, what an accomplishment that you guys did. And I want you to tell the backstory leading up to this because International Jazz Day was April 30th. And all of a sudden, we saw not only your band with the Air Force, but six other military bands from across the world come together for this performance to play I'll Be Seeing You. How did this come together?
Music brings people together. The Air Force Band has brought people together since their beginning in 1941. And right now, during this international crisis, we look for ways to bring all of our partner nations together. We've got strong ties all over the world with other militaries. And we thought, what a better way than to join in song? And we found a song that was very specific during World War II about being reunited with their soldiers and their loved ones. And we thought, what a message for today and to be able to bring our international community back together.
No doubt. Now, to our viewers right now, I just want to pause for a second because if they haven't seen it, if they haven't heard it, you're going to have to see it. So let's take a little break here and play some of I'll Be Seeing You.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through.
In that small cafe, the park across the way.
Well, I told you at the top, Colonel, what a production. What was your reaction, when you just sit back and you actually see what you all did?
It's amazing to me because it doesn't sound like we recorded it all individually, all at different times. The trust, the synergy across those musicians between each other, I think is really symbolic of the trust and synergy that we have to have nowadays. I was incredibly proud of not only the Air Force band members, but all of the military members.
I mean, I could see it on their faces. I don't know if you could. I mentioned that as well, but it was great to hear, as a music fan, to hear it. And again, I'm not a big jazz fan, but I was hooked. But I was really hooked at the stories on each individual face. You could just see the expressions and how happy they were to be doing this together.
These are some people that we've had relationships and long-term engagements with before, so it was great to reconnect with some old friends. Again, music brings people together, and not only has it brought us together in message, but again, some of our old friends that we've done partnerships with over the years. It's good to have an opportunity to say hello and reconnect again.
And I want to talk about those friends. I mean, the countries also involved: Australia, Brazil, Finland, Germany, Great Britain, and Japan. Is that correct? Those are the six?
That is correct.
Okay, I mean, to me that shows unification. As someone sitting here at home and watching it, what else does that show you, Colonel, when seven nations can come together and do that?
I think it really shows cultural trust at the end of the day for me. Interoperability, our ability to work together toward a unified goal, but again, cultural trust to be able to produce a product that is so meaningful in today's society. And I think this is something that transcends all cultural boundaries, messages of hope. And it's interesting that you bring that up. We have another product that we will release later this week in which we collaborated with 12 other partner nations to do something very similar. So again, we're looking at ways to continue to bring people together. Trust, hope, commitment to one another. That's what we're looking to continue to reinforce.
Did you have any doubt, though, Colonel? And be honest here, like that, when this was being discussed, can we actually pull this off?
I had no doubt whatsoever. We are surrounded both in the Air Force Band and these other military bands with some of the finest players in the world. And these people are used to being able to do wild and creative projects. And they first brought this to me. My first reaction, honestly, was, that sounds awesome. I can't wait to see it. There was never any doubt. I love the process and I love the product. Your reaction is exactly what we want. We've had, since March 11th, we've done 190 separate posts on the Air Force Band Facebook page for things just like this. And that video that you just showed, I'll Be Seeing You, has been seen over 635,000 times already worldwide.
It tells a story right there about this desire, this need, this craving for unity within music, and you guys delivered that. Does this happen if we're not in a pandemic?
It does. It
Yeah.
does. We partner with nations all the time. We had plans to go and again integrate interoperability with other nations' military bands and share culture, share their culture, share our culture with them. So this is something that we've been doing for a long time. But again, we had to be creative in a way that we could still express that partnership and trust. We do it virtually now. It's not quite as good as you can imagine. Any of this is what we're doing, but we're finding ways to still make it work. And that's what I'm incredibly proud of in terms of the creativity and the tenacity of the people that I'm surrounded with. They will find ways to continue to connect worldwide with audiences.
The song "I'll Be Seeing You," I don't know much about it. I mean, I know it's a classic from that dates back to the 40s, and I know it's been recorded by a number of famous artists over the decades, including Frank Sinatra and obviously Billie Holiday. But how important is it? I mean, you can deliver a song, but it starts by picking the song. Did a lot go into really this particular song, and that this is it, this is the one we're doing?
Exactly. So what we start with in any project like this, we start with the end result. I look at you and I look at what effect I want to have on you. What's the message that I want to convey to you?
Mm-hmm.
You and I sharing a connection. What do I want to convey to you? And then we back it up from there. So that's what we looked at. We looked at an international partnership and communication and trust. We started with what we wanted to achieve. And then we backed it up and we looked for the right music to fit in that. "I'll Be Seeing You" was a natural choice.
Mm-hmm. How has it changed you? I mean, before that particular project, I mean, not just the pandemic and our day-to-day lives, but has it changed you at all? Or, I mean, you're so energetic anyways beforehand about doing music with other countries, which I didn't know that you guys did often, but this particular one around, did it change you at all?
What it did for me is it gave me an opportunity to reestablish some friendships and some bonds with some other leaders worldwide that I've not seen in a while. So for this, again, I loved being able to send that email, "Hey, I have an idea," and being able to reconnect that way. So that's something that was very personal for me on this project, and watching their enthusiasm for their military band and what they could participate with. I think that really energized me as well. Again, it continues to give us all hope.
Yeah, but that energy also shows in the product, right? I mean, reestablishing those friendships and relationships, and especially as you mentioned, you kind of teased it, the new ones that you guys are working on down the road.
Right. Yeah. It's again, it's great to reconnect. You never know where friendships and trust and collaboration will grow. And so some of these relationships that the Air Force Band has with other companies, other countries, such as the Royal Air Force Band, goes back to its inception in 1941. The two bands have had a very close relationship. In fact, the first international trip that the Air Force Band, the Army Air Corps Band back then took, was to go over to and perform for the Royal Air Force and their citizens. So again, a long-standing relationship that I'm very proud to continue with all of those countries.
Not to bring up the hiccups, and I'm sure there weren't many of them, but technically, what would you say, Colonel, was the most difficult part of putting this together?
The planning, without question, the planning, to be able to say, okay, we're going to do this tune, here's the tempo, you take a solo here, this is the part we're going to play, this is the part you play, this is the part you sing right here, here's how we'll dovetail this together. So I think in all of our projects, we make it look easy, but we make it look easy because of the planning that goes into it to make sure that it's right. And so I think in all of our projects, as we're talking about our new projects too right now, the devil is in the details.
Okay. Hey, and just on a parting note here, as the conductor of this band within the U.S. Air Force, can you just give a sense of the mood of those you conduct and how they're doing right now through what we as a country, what we as a world are experiencing?
So our missions at Arlington National Cemetery continue even today. So there are parts of the Air Force Band's mission that doesn't change. Traditionally, we do about 1,600 performances each year. 800 of those are at Arlington National Cemetery. So it's an organization with 6 separate performing groups that is nonstop, every day, worldwide. So for us, as we have really been in hibernation since early March, I think all of us would characterize it that way. We're hopeful that when we reemerge from this deep sleep, that we're going to not only pick up where we left off, but have used this time creatively to figure out how to continue to reinforce these bonds, these international bonds of trust, these national bonds of trust across the United States, but how to work even more effectively. So there are silver linings for everything. And I think one of the things that I'm very proud my staff has continued to do is to find the silver linings in where we are today.
Excellent point. And when you do come back in person, so we as an audience can see you in person, it will be loud. No doubt it will be powerful. Thank you for your service, Colonel. Thank you for all you do with the United States Air Force and our country. And I appreciate it. And I look forward to those future projects down the road.
Thank you so much for the time.
Okay, and just a reminder to all our viewers right now, you can always watch interviews like this with the Colonel and other interviews tied to COVID-19 at our website at